hold on to your trousers, cause this bad boy is about to blow. Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Melvin Moist, and we have some incredibly jaw-dropping, eye-opening, life-changing data that we're gonna actually present to you here in this webisode. So much exciting stuff to come, guys. And specifically, there is two things, just two things, two very specific things that we're going to be talking about in this webisode in terms of Bitcoin's trajectory to end the year 2020. Are we going to end this year with some fireworks? Or will we be ending this year sitting alone in our chairs, nibbling on some kibbles and bits? And as always, guys, make sure to turn this button blue to make your dreams come true. And remember, guys, all comments do enter you to win a ledger equivalent BTC or access to T4. Huge. So guys, I just want to start off with this. I just tweeted this out, but this is something we've been talking about for about a week now, and it's something we've been kind of covering daily on the channel as well as it plays out. And we have some very interesting updates that we're going to be getting into in this video about this specific price action, the similarities between this time back about 600 days ago, but also the similarities that are exactly to the inverse of the last 3 times that we've had this same pattern in the year 2020 specifically. And guys, there are 2 things that I'm looking for, and they're very specific. Obviously, you could say one is up, one is down. That's very true. In fact, a criticism that I see on basically all crypto videos in the comments is, so you're telling me it could go up, down, or sideways. And that is absolutely true. It's a very valid criticism. In fact, if you're looking to these videos to specifically every single day find out if we're going to pump 5% or dump 5%, right? But I think I can speak for everyone when I say we don't do these videos to just say if we're going to get a pump or dump. And at least for me, the reason I get so excited is specifically this. If we see something shaping up on the charts and maybe there's like a 10% chance of it happening and we follow it throughout the week and we see that 10% chance maybe jump to 60 or 70% chance compared to we see something that might be, you know, like 60% chance right off the bat and then it jumps up to like 95% chance and ends up playing out. The probabilities are what are exciting. The probabilities are the reason that myself, and I'm pretty sure, I think a lot of people would agree that's why most people do these videos. And when it comes down to it, you can boil basically anything down to 2 or 3 options. For example, if you're watching a food review video, you either like it or you don't like it. Or if you have to use the bathroom, you might have to go 1, 2, or 3 if you know what I mean. So I guess it's a roundabout way of saying, guys, it's not about the destination, but it's about the journey. Wow, so basically, guys, you see the similarities here printed on this chart. You can see these 2 vertical lines, these vertical green lines that I have in the background, correlating to exactly where we are now, and then the exact similarity in terms of last year in the summer of what I believe this pattern could shape up to be. And guys, this is the case that I think is most likely if this fundamental news really does have the impact that we think it will. And the reason that I don't think afterwards we'll have a pullback is fundamentally, if we look on the macro charts, obviously, because things are much more bullish now. However, guys, in the inverse scenario, there's a pattern shaping up specifically now over the last 2 months that we need to be watching. It is, in fact, our 4th visit to the bottom of this trend line, right? We've had multiple touches, and now, as we talked about, this is our 3rd day in a row, and we're just literally on the brink of this. So basically, guys, the reason I want to put out this video and talk about this specific pattern is because it looks as though if we actually do break out of this structure, that is going to begin this downtrend that we're talking about. And it's a trend we've been showing on multiple different charts of what that pullback would look like. But in my opinion, if we now break this trend, keep in mind, this is an ascending support line. So every single day, Bitcoin basically needs to hold a teensy-weensy bit higher. Otherwise, it will be below it, right? Every single day, it's a little bit higher. So, you know, say we wait a few more days, this trend line is going to be pretty significantly higher, right? A couple $100 higher than it is currently. And basically that leads me to this chart, the daily chart here. You can see it looks as though we're in some kind of descending channel here as well. And most importantly, we're below the 21-day moving average now. But also, guys, incredibly critically is this. When this EMA ribbon line, this dark green line has shifted below the 50-day moving average, which I have in like light green here, as we've gotten that shift, every single time that's happened in the year 2020, and so far it's been 3 times, every single time we've gotten that shift, it has been the earliest indicator that this downtrend is actually going to be a little more significant, okay? For example, let's say we go back to the last time this happened. You see we have this here. You see this, get this cross, and then a few days later, we had a pretty big move to the downside, about 12,000 down to 9,800-ish. And it happened a few other times. I have them highlighted in the circles here. But the other thing I want to cover here as well is this. The last time that we were parabolic, and this is something we talked about just a few minutes ago and many times over the last few days, when we broke out of this descending level of resistance is when we actually initiated a blast off for an additional 6,000 roughly dollar move. but it also lined up here exactly with the 21-day moving average. So in our current situation, if we do get a move, which we have 3 other times in the year 2020, back above this 21-day moving average before a fake out, which is the fake out, to continue lower prices, I think that just breaking this 21-day moving average, guys, is not going to mean much. If we're actually going to talk about that scenario where we pump, where we talk about that fractal or that massive parabolic move back in the summer, if that were to happen again, we wouldn't need to break the 21-day only. We would also need to break this descending level of resistance, which currently, let's say it would happen today. Bitcoin would basically need to get above 18,930, let's say 18,950, just to be safe in case the trend lines are off a little bit. Okay, so that is over $1,000 above where we currently are. And keep in mind, every day this is also descending because this is a descending line here. So really, again, it's a battle of probability. It looks as though right now a lot of the indicators are showing, like we've been saying for the most part, that we most likely will get a pullback. And again, guys, keep in mind, that actually still lines up with this move back in the summer because we got that pullback pretty significantly below the 21-day moving average before ever initiating a move back to the upside. So if I would have to guess, right, if we were in a similar move to where we were back then, I personally think we would basically be right about in this area. The most key thing now is that we hold the bottom trend line, but the difference here so far is that right now we're actually already at the bottom of this trend line. And you can see it here on the 4-hour chart as well. It's a lot more clear on this chart. You can see the touches, multiple touches here, here, and here. And then on the top here, almost here, not quite, but we have very significant touches here on the top. And as well, that lines up with the point of control currently on the 4-hour, which is like the very top of this channel. So to sum it up, if we are going to get a move to the upside, I think the lowest that we can go over the next few days is down to that $16,500 level and meet that 50-day moving average down there. That's the lowest I think we can go and still think we have this scenario to play out in the short term. And like I said, I fully anticipate that if we actually do breach, because again, just today we've actually gone below this. We held it right about 17.6, which has just been such an incredibly important level of support so far. You can see we dipped our toes down here. It was a pretty significant level over the last few days as we've been building and then losing support. But basically, if we fail to hold 17.6, I think it's very likely that we're going to quickly go to a 16,500, and potentially that could actually start a bigger downtrend. I personally don't think so. I personally think that the most rational downside target in the next week or so is very lowest 15.5, right? Everybody, including myself, is very aware that we have this 21-day moving average down here, a little above 13,000 US dollars. But similarly, I also don't think that is the most likely pullback scenario in the short term. I think there still will be a pullback in the very short term before we get a massive pump past 20K, 25, even 30K. However, I don't necessarily think that this is the most likely scenario. We come all the way down to 13. I personally think the market is just a little too bullish right now. And guys, with that in mind, actually, I've been looking at Chainlink with the Bitcoin pairing. Chainlink, for the last, it looks like, over 2 years has been in the Bitcoin pairing within this rising type channel. But we've had some very nice breakouts above it, but we've always come back in this channel, right? As soon as we break all the way to the above it, we end up coming to the very bottom of it. You saw it here back in 2019. You saw it here just a few months ago in that massive rally that ended in the middle of August, right back to the bottom here. So this will be very interesting to see, because if Chainlink actually does break below this, we will see lower prices for Chainlink with the Bitcoin pairing here. And in my opinion, we will obviously also be seeing that with alts across the board. I don't think this is just Chainlink and for some reason only Chainlink would fall in the Bitcoin pairing. No, I personally think obviously for that to happen, we would need to see that across the broader altcoin space as well. And guys, also within the next 48 hours, we are going to be getting a weekly close. And if we get this weekly close here, this looks like a very, decent bearish engulfing candle, right? So if this is how it ends up closing in about 48 hours, which I personally think is probably the most likely scenario, that we're going to close with a candle similar to this. I don't think that it's all of a sudden going to flip and we're going to get a green candle up to $28,000 within the next 48 hours, right? I don't think that's the case. I think it most likely will close as the price action has kind of been trending for the last 5 days. Then again, this could end up being the scenario where we do initiate that short-term pullback. But most importantly, the thing to watch for, because if this pattern is going to play out, this kind of reflection of bullishness and potentially push us up to the high 20,000s before the end of this year, if that scenario is going to play out, then we'll basically need a green engulfing or a bullish engulfing weekly candle next week. So basically the candle that's going to start in roughly about 48 hours and will go for 7 days, we basically need that candle to be a bullish engulfing Otherwise, our chances of setting new highs this year, in my opinion, are pretty slim. So it'll need to be a pretty quick turnaround. So far, the RSI actually looks extremely identical to that, something we've been talking about for a few days. But yeah, we're basically going to know within the next 7 days exactly what our trajectory for 2020 is going to close out, in my opinion. Massive munchies, guys. Awesome. Make sure to enter your comment below to enter for those ledgers. And as well, guys, if you're interested in trading, make sure to sign up with our links below if you have experience only. And also, if you want to support the channel, remember, whether it's leverage or not, trading in general is risky. I would always recommend not using much of your portfolio. And for pizza's sake, just be careful with your money. It's your money. You want to be careful with it. Do not just make willy-nilly trades based on not only me, but literally what anyone says. Always only do it based on what you think makes the most sense.